So, good evening friends. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting and also a venture capitalist. Now, standing on 17th October 2019, practically 4 a.m. in the morning, we are going to be shooting a pretty important video about a topic which is known as the RegTech. Now, RegTech stands for Regulatory Technologies. We are going to be dividing this video into the three parts. Now, the first part would be what exactly is RegTech. The second part would be that why RegTech is turning pretty important in the world nowadays, and the third part would be how we can make a career in the RegTech. Now, while talking to you, I am straight looking at the Bloomberg TV also. So at 4 a.m. we are running the Bloomberg, and it is showing that the recent elections which is happening in the US, basically in 2020, when we're not sure whether Trump administration will come again or not, but I am pro-Trump, so I hope he will come. You know, the Democratic candidates are focusing on the technology piece. I think the technological piece is getting very fancy, but unfortunately, especially in the RegTech as well and the SupTech, which is supervisory technology, we are missing very important aspect which is functional. But before delving down into these things, let me start what exactly is RegTech. Now, RegTech stands for Regulatory Technology. It means all those technologies which help supervisors and especially regulators like Monetary Authority of Singapore, Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Bank of England, Bank of Japan, Reserve Bank of Australia, Reserve Bank of New Zealand to take decisions. There are many economists we have in US who call this as an agile governance, AGILE. According to their definition of the agile governance, it means that the data set which is coming, so basically the decisions these regulators are taking. So today, like, there is a news which came down that Monetary Authority of Singapore is coming in the public domain, and after 2016, which is practically 3 years, right, they have started deciding to moderate the economy. They have started deciding to do the intervention in the economy, especially in the foreign exchange piece. Now, hardly we see that Monetary Authority of Singapore coming in the public domain and talking like that. Now, there are two ways of looking at it. Now, one way from an FX angle looking is this, that the dollar to Sing dollar, which is trading at 1.37, will definitely go up. It might touch 1.40 as well. This is one way of looking. Another way of looking is the decision which Federal Reserve, the Monetary Authority of Singapore has taken. It is backed up by some information in the public domain, or it could be on Reuters and Bloomberg. We do not know, right? Now, when we talk about the regulatory technologies, there are two parts of it. One part of regulatory technology is functional. I call this PPF piece. So in short, in this throughout the video and wherever we give lectures, we call this F. Second is the T piece. T stands for technology. Unfortunately, there are very less people we have left in the system, those who are focusing extensively on the F part. There are many people, those who are focusing on the T part. Now, T part, you have humongous, like you have blockchain, you have Bitcoin, you have IoT, Internet of Things, you have virtual reality, you have augmented reality, you have many. And the hard reality of life is that even the regulators also focusing on the T part. Now, if we carefully look that, in the next 3 years, there is a hell lot of action which is going to get happen. So the first action would be happen somewhere in 2020 October, when Monetary Authority of Singapore MAS 610 risk aggregation and statistics reporting will come into the picture. I don't know, I call this as a mini FRTB, but chances of success is little rare because I don't think it's a nice draft which is given by MAS. Though I understand I am giving this statement, this one. Another which is 2021 which is coming is the LIBOR phase out. Now, LIBOR phase out was initially started by SOFR, and eventually and gradually we got 6 boys to have a single cake. Now, this 6 boys to have a single case, we have 7th boy, it is also coming. Now, this boy is from Sweden. I don't know how many of you watching business newspaper in a day, but for me at 4 a.m. I'm watching the Bloomberg TV and also shooting the video. Sweden, which is a pretty small economy in the globe, right? It's just like Singapore in size. Sweden is coming up with our digital currency. Good morning. And more importantly, Sweden is also coming up with their reformed interbank rates. Again, good morning. Had I talked this about Singapore, it would have a different meaning. A country like Sweden, in fact, it is not Amsterdam, it is not Luxembourg, it is not Frankfurt. So one is Luxembourg. You know, the Luxembourg is nothing but a place for the hedge funds, financial institutions, venture capitalists, private equities and all. When you talk about Frankfurt, it's more or less the same, right? If we talk about US, we understand. We talk about London, we understand. Brexit or no Brexit, that is a different thing. But we talking about Sweden. Now we already have 6 boys to share the single cake, and 7th boy is coming. So we don't know how the LIBOR transition is stepping up, but we know one thing, that 6 January 2020, which is roughly 3 to 4 months down the line, ISDA, International Swaps and Derivative Association, would be coming up with the fallback language. And that fallback language, they need to add and amend in ISDA Master Service Agreement 2006. We really need to see how this works out. Because I'm damn sure that in this Master Service Agreement, if there will be any mistake left, it would have a catastrophic impact on the financial market. 2020, 2 bombshells are coming. Number 1 is the revised draft of MiFID II, and number 2 is SFTR, revised draft, Security Financing Transaction Regulation. Well, when the MiFID II came, I came in the public domain and I clearly said to many people that the way MiFID II was constructed, it's going to be a failure. But that happened, nobody listened, and reality, just like Libra. We said Libra might not end up as a reality, and today, out of 20 people, more than 4 or 5 people have already left, which include the PayPal and several people. We're going to have a separate video in that regards. Eventually speaking, in 2022, a big nuclear bomb is coming, and that nuclear bomb is FRTB, Fundamental Review of the Trading Book. And that fundamental review of the trading book will not only hit Goldman, but will also hit Citi, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, HSBC, ANZ, Westpac, Barclays, and whatnot. But the moral of the story is, in 2023, the last bomb is coming, which is Basel III revised, and many people call this as Basel IV. Now this is one important thing. Now we need to learn one important thing, that today we do not have a single app worldwide who can say that I am having a command on all RegTech, right? We are trying to create our own bot, which is Julia. It will take some time, another 3-4 months, but then Julia would be ready in 2020 to get this done. The most important thing what is happening in the RegTech is that we are missing the F piece. And what exactly is the F piece? Is the functional piece. For example, how many people, those who are watching this video, know exactly what FRTB is, Fundamental Review of the Trading Book is? How many people know that how exactly FRTB works? How many people know that how we can do the transitioning, how we can create the hypothetical P&L test in FRTB? How many people know that how we can make ECL, expected credit losses, in FRTB? How many people know that the CVA, credit valuation adjustment, one of the 7 XVAs we have, 8 XVAs we have, is different in FRTB than it is different in Basel III? How many of you know that FRTB, Fundamental Review of the Trading Book, has not yet touched anything except 2, which is CVA and DVA? All these things has to be fed up into the systems, and the systems include TMS, Treasury Management Systems. It do includes the FX engines like Goldman and everyone have their own proprietary systems. It also including in the ERPs, which is Enterprise Resource Planning, could be SAP and Oracle, or maybe both. We need to feed this system in the Treasury Management Systems by both SAP and Oracle. We need to see, although they are not very popular. Functional piece in the RegTech is very important, and if you are very strong in the functional piece, then the technological piece is not far. We also need to understand that if you really wish to make your career in RegTech, then you need to understand that you can either be a master of functional or you can either be a master of the technology, because having mastery in both is relatively very tough. Now I'm opening my mobile phone. I'm opening our platform, which is fixedincome.global. And in this platform, what I am going to be doing, I am going to be going to one place which is known as the RegTech. And in this, I am going to be letting you know about the 17 principles which we have of RegTech. Now, they includes the Alternative Investment Fund Management Directive, which is known as AIFMD. It includes European Union Anti-Money Laundering Directive AMLD. 4. Basel 3. It is Basel 3 revised soon. BCBS 239, benchmark regulation, and you know there is a hell lot of action which is happening in the benchmark regulation. It includes a comprehensive capital analysis and review, and I hope that you followed the statement by a few regulators in the Europe that LCR is being fudged during this stress testing. But it's an unfortunate part that the media and unfortunately Bloomberg also not went very extensive in this discussion, which they supposed to, because LCR is fudged, and in fact in my understanding most of the stress tests worldwide are being fudged, which is common reporting language. There is a lot of action happening in the fixed reporting. Then we have Capital Reform Directive 4. There are talks that CRD 5 is on the way. We have Dodd-Frank, we have MA1, MA2, we have FATCA, Foreign Tax Compliance Act, we have Swiss Financial Reporting, which is SPIDLAC, we have Financial Reporting, which is FINRAP, Fundamental Review of the Trading Book coming 2022, GDPR, Global Data Prevention Regulation. There are some news in the public domain suggests that the revised version of the GDPR is coming in 2020. I am not sure coming or not, but I have seen on LinkedIn. We have Market Abuse Directive, Market Abuse Regulation, MiFID, Market in Financial Instrument Regulation, SFTR, Security Financing Transaction Regulation, Prudential Regulatory Authority, and MAS 610, Risk Aggregation and Statistics Reporting. The fundamental reason behind is that they are 17 in nature. And according to Einstein Young, after every 17 minutes there is a regulation coming in the world by different central banks of the globe. For a minute I assume that I make this 17 minutes to 1 hour. Then I have 24 regulations which is coming worldwide. In a whole year we work 272 working days. So 24 into 272. I need calculator to compute, but this much amount of regulations coming in the public domain. Few are global regulations, few are local regulations. But one important thing which we need to understand, if we wanted to have our career in the RegTech, we have to have a very good understanding of the financial market. Example, Basel 3 revised is coming. BIS asking for the public comment, and of course Treasury Consulting will give the public comment. But when we talk about BIS 3 revised, it's talk about the revised definition of the HQ assets and the HQ liabilities. It stands at high quality assets and the high quality liabilities. Now it would surely have an impact on the LCR. It would surely, and more importantly, it would also have an impact on the computation methodology of the stress test. And apparently speaking, one important thing which is coming up in this revised regulations eventually is that it is turning more quantitative than qualitative. Like if you look at the regulations of 10 years before, you can take this as Basel true, it was more qualitative than quantitative. Now it is getting more quantitative. Henceforth, the world needs a lot of apps. You can tell this as pricers, I can say blotters. We need blotters in fact to able to compute multiple RegTech at the same point of time. Now the technology will of course play a very important role. I'm not against technology, I'm a pro technology person, but having said that, technology will only play the role provided the functional piece of that RegTech is done appropriately. In most of the cases, the functional piece of the RegTech has not done appropriately, would end up the demise of the RegTech. Now let me give you a simple example. Although I'm not naming that, but in one of the, I call this a sponsorship based model. This is my own word. In Singapore, we have a lot of companies, those who are sponsorship based model. What they do, apparently they claim to be a RegTech person. They will arrange a meeting in a 5-star hotel. They will invite the venture capitalists. They will invite the RegTech companies. They will just do the matchmaking business and they earn the money, few thousands of dollars per meeting. But do you know that the companies which are joining, what is their perception? Their perception is that RegTech is nothing but KYC compliance. It is nothing but the use of the machine learning in the curriculum vitae. It is nothing but the usage of the fraud using machine learning. That's it. I have not seen a single app. In fact, with due respect, there are a lot of consultants, those who are doing the work of 610 in Singapore, and the intelligence of their own 610 is pretty short. So if you're watching this video carefully, you need to understand one thing, that your functional piece has to be more important than the technological piece. Although I'm not anti-technology, because remember that whatever you have, whatever, whether it's either it's a camera or a IPTV which is running back to the camera, or it is anything you have, it's lie on the functional piece. Now it doesn't matter whether this is black, this is blue, this is green, or this is red of an iPhone. What matter is the quality the iPhone is delivering. iPhone is amongst the best brands of the globe because it's deliver quality, it delivers value. Similarly, the RegTech app has to deliver the value. It doesn't matter how good you are using the technology. What matters how easy it resolves the functionally problem for the bank. Last but not the least, to make your career in the RegTech, you have to be pretty good. You cannot have 17 regulations in one day, that's for sure. And most importantly, to make your career in the RegTech, you have to start from the scratch. Scratch means you have to learn slowly that what are these regulations, which is also known as reg reporting. Now let me answer this very carefully. There are many people in the globe, and lot of emails, messages will come to me wherein people come to me and said that is reg reporting same? Is reg reporting same as we have RegTech? No. Reg reporting is completely different. It's completely different. While reg reporting is just like Malaysia, while the RegTech is just like Singapore. Now Singapore is the best economy of the globe. Amongst best economy is the global financial center. I do not want you to criticize Malaysia, but we know what exactly is that. More importantly, when it comes to reg reporting varies from bank to bank. So example, let's talk of a single reg reporting, say XVA, simple. Now I have 8 XVAs, CVA, DVA, MVA, KVA, LVA, FVA and all. Now these 8 which I have, if I am going to have this in Goldman, it varies. If I am going to have this in Chase, it varies. If I am going to have this in DBS, it varies. HSBC, it varies. But this is reg reporting. How I report that? And it includes a lot of architecture, like every XVA is backed up by a CDS contract. How Goldman planted the CDS, JP Morgan not. How JP Morgan planted HSBC not. So reg reporting is a different thing, while regulatory is a different thing. So your understanding has to be what is XVA. What are the 8 brothers and sisters of XVA? And once you have these 8 brothers and sisters of the XVA, then you would be able to understand how to do the reg reporting. Reg reporting varies from bank to bank. Apparently, in some cases, it is completely different. So, in some case, example, you are working in Santander, which is SBI of Spain or DBS of Spain, right? And all of a sudden, you move to Goldman, right? Then the reg reporting of the Goldman would completely be different than Santander. And you will believe that either Santander is doing it wrongly or Goldman is doing it wrongly. But the fact of the matter is that Goldman is doing is rightly and Santander too. But the scope and the size of the Santander is pretty small. Consider the scope and size of the Goldman. So when it comes to the RegTech, you need to more focus on the functional piece than on the technological piece, because we know that there is I would say the Singapore FinTech Festival is around the corner. In a Singapore FinTech Festival, I know that without criticizing, over 30,000 startups would come. All these 30,000 startups would have their different interpretations of machine learning. They would come up with a lot of KYC compliances, and God knows what we'll see this time in the FinTech Festival in Singapore. But one thing which is apparently clear in that none of these 30,000 people would come up with any app or a blockchain or a machine learning or maybe IoT or any based solution which would be able to help the FRTB. Which would let me know that I have the balance sheet of the Goldman and I can have a probable impact on FRTB, a probable impact of the FRTB in that. Last but not the least, the one important thing which we need to understand very, very clearly and very, very apparently is that maybe few years down the line, and I might not be surprised, 1 year down the line, we would surely be having one concept which is risk office. And that risk office concept is picking up very fast. Now we have Goldman, Citi and all, they are coming up with this concept. Now this risk office concept which eventually be taking up the everything we have of the RegTech. That's for sure. And since it would be taking up the RegTech, we really need to see that the scope and the size of the middle office would surely be coming down, while the front office piece would surely be coming down. And you should not forget that JP Morgan Chase within this year did around 250 billion, yes, 250, which is slight lesser than the cash Apple hold in their books, right? They did $250 billion of NDF trades using bots, using algos. So front office piece will surely be get down, while middle office piece will surely be get down, and more importantly, what not get down is the RegTech, which is the risk office. So all these people, those who are working in the treasury, to wind up this video, they need to take up the call. Call number one. Am I going to be the functionally competent person in the RegTech or going to be the technologically competent person? Both are required, but you need to have an exceptional knowledge. Point number two, if I am working in a front office and thinking that my job is secure, then we need to understand that everywhere people are firing the front office people. That's also a fact. That's a different thing. It will not come in the public domain, and I cannot tell you also that who bank do that, because it's a strict information in the interbank market. Third and very important piece is that, am I capable enough to join the risk office? So example, I'm working in the front office. Can I make a transition to risk office? How far the risk office? 1 year, 2 year? Can I make a transition? If yes, then I need to see what all skill set I need. This is what we wanted to cover the RegTech, and eventually we're going to be launching a lot of videos about the RegTech, a lot of works, practical, Excel oriented videos on the RegTech. I assure you one thing pretty clearly, it's 4:10 in the morning, 4:15, 4:10. Neither I sleep nor you sleep, because Treasury Consulting was Treasury Consulting LLP in 2016. In 2019, it is Treasury Consulting Bank, and in 2021, it would be Treasury Consulting. Now it is Treasury Consulting Group, and 2021, it would be Treasury Consulting Bank. Lot of actions on the card. Stay tuned, but make sure one thing, that whatever you listen from the media, from the newspaper, use your brain, right? And use your brain and try and see that are they telling you the right facts? Is it they are forcing you to be a technological oriented person? And don't forget that. Remember one thing. OYO is also a tech enabled company, you know what is the scene. WeWork is also a tech enabled company, you know what is the scene. So remember that, and my last and humble line, don't run before the technology in such a way that you forget the functional piece of life. Have a good time and talk soon.